Hello, it's John, it's the Sports Channel, and today it's week 16, with the looks of it, of the Championship. Everything starts messing around now, doesn't it, because of the weeks we've had off and the cancellations and things. But well, it looks like everybody's on 15 games at the minute. So we're going for week 16 of the Championship. We're going to predict the games for tonight onward. And tonight we have Plymouth versus Watford. And we have Watford in 15 games, 25 points. And we have Plymouth in 18th, 15 games, 16 points. Now, that's probably just over 1 point per game, is about 18th, 19th position at the end as well. So 46 games, 48, 49 points. So they've been pretty consistent. I think four wins, 4 draws, 7 defeats. Plymouth have been one of the better sides at home. Again, I don't think it was at the very first couple of games, but of late it's been very good at home and not that good away. For instance, Plymouth, the last home game was a win at home to Portsmouth. The one before that was a draw, 3-3 to Preston North End. They were doing well at that. Surprisingly enough, the other 4 have all been away from home. Cardiff defeat, Millwall defeat, Leeds defeat, and a Derby defeat. So they'll be looking to get this back on track now that they've finally got a home game. They're playing Watford, who are, they have been playing some good football. The surprise of the last 6 games was probably the Luton defeat, 3-0, 6 games ago. 2-1 defeat to Leeds away was actually quite good. A 1-0 home win to Blackburn, and they keep getting the run of the green, don't they? I don't know how they do it. The amazing game was the one they just walked over Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Watford 6. Followed by a defeat away at Swansea, 1-0. It's like weird. And then a win at home to Oxford 1-0. So of late they seem to have just lost their way. That win against Wednesday just seemed to have almost made them think, well, hang on a minute, we're bound to win these games then. And I think they just turned up overconfident. I really do think they turned up overconfident. From a 6-2 to a 1-0 defeat, thinking, we've shown what we can do now. We'll continue it. Still away, great. And then to go home against somebody from League One, we're bound to beat Oxford, aren't we? And they only win 1-0. When you would have expected them to be that confident, they'd have done a lot better. And against the Plymouth side who are really going to be rooting to try and make something of this game, and it's going to be a very difficult one to predict. So what do we think? Well, the last 3 games for Plymouth have been 1-0 win, 3-0 defeat, 1-0 win, and a 1-1 draw. I think they're going to score 1. I can only see them scoring 1 against a side that is pretty good in defence and can score a lot of goals. So I think that Watford will win it, and I think that Watford will let 1 in. They do tend to let 0 or 1 in. Certainly the last 4 games. 2 against Wednesday, didn't they? 5 games ago, 2-1 defeat to Leeds, 3-0 defeat to Luton. They can let more in. Technically, it could be a draw, couldn't it? I'm going to go with Plymouth 1, Watford 2. But, I can't help thinking, it is something that they can do, is to let 2 or 3 in. So it could be a 2-2, but I'm going to go with Watford to win this one. 2-1. So Bristol City versus Burnley. Bristol City in 10th, Burnley in 4th. Burnley have been playing quite good football. Not quite having the technical finish. I think I'm just looking at it and thinking a little bit like West Brom, that quality end game just isn't quite there for me. If they can get more shots on target, then they'll score a lot more goals. But at the minute, the shots just seem to the good shots on target just don't seem to be there for me in the amount that we're really looking for. So, what are we thinking? We're thinking that Burnley are of late a little bit hit and miss. Win, draw, lose, draw, win. Although the lose was away at Millwall, and Millwall are really good at home now. They're starting to make the Den back into that fearful place to go to. So if we take that one out, because they really are very good at home, they're not doing too bad, but they are quite draw heavy of late. They're playing a Bristol City side that can turn up. Sometimes they don't. They played Sheffield United at home and lost 2-1, but then it's Sheffield United. They tend to be winning things by 1 goal. Norwich City, they won 2-0 away in their last game. Preston 3-1 away win. 2 draws before that, Stoke and Leeds. And again, 2-2 and 0-0. 2-0 win 6 games ago against Borough. And I'm sort of looking at a team that can turn up. Sometimes does, sometimes doesn't. Of late, they're starting to turn up an awful lot more. And you can actually see that they are a little bit better organised. And the quality does seem to be starting to be quite consistent. So I'm starting to err towards Bristol City, with them being at home. So I think this one could go either way, and it really could. I think it's 1-0 either way, or 1-1. So I'm going to go with Bristol City 1, Burnley 1, because I think Bristol City will turn up. I think they're on a pretty good run. And with Burnley's ability to draw 3 out of their last 6, I just think that, they've got a good chance at home, Bristol City, if they turn up to get a draw out of this one. And we then move on to Coventry versus Sheffield United. And, of course, Coventry versus Sheffield is a little bit further apart, these two, than Bristol Burnley, 10th and 4th. Now we have Sheffield United in 2nd versus Coventry in 17th. And of late, Coventry really started to struggle. They had a couple of injuries, I think. But I think they're starting to come back now. Excuse me. We were a little bit worried about the sacking of Robins, and my worry there was that it was all just like the Coventry fans that are on here. They were suggesting perhaps it was driven by the actual players themselves. So I looked at the Sunderland game thinking, did they play exceptionally good and a lot better than they did before? And I thought they certainly did. They played really well in that 2-2 draw at Sunderland. And it's almost like, they did actually want Robins to get the sack, which is really, really, it's not nice. Because they've then got to try and get someone in. But it looks like they knew who they were wanting in. So, was it Lampard, was it? So, it looks like they'll get the manager they wanted to come in. So, it's one of those horrible things in football. If the players don't want to play for someone, they tend to just they're just down tools and they forget about the fans, and that's what's annoying. That is what would annoy me as a Coventry fan, if I was a Coventry fan. The fact that the players seem to just devoid themselves from the club and the fans just to get rid of the manager, and it looks like that might be the case. In which case, we're going to get a pretty decent game out of Coventry. Lose, draw, win, lose against Derby, get rid of the manager. Sunderland 2-2. This side suddenly shows what it can do. against Sheffield United, lose against Leeds, lose against Borough, win against Stoke, Blackburn, Bristol City and Sheffield Wednesday, 2-0, 2-0, 2-1, 1-0, twos and ones all the way through the season. I can't see Sheffield United scoring a great deal. However, I can't see Coventry scoring a great deal. And for that reason, and because I think that Coventry have been hit by the players, I'm going to go Coventry 2, Sheffield United 2. And we move on to the next game, which is Sheffield Wednesday versus Cardiff. So, Sheffield Wednesday and Cardiff. And how do we think that's going to go? Sheffield Wednesday are in 15th. Cardiff are in 22nd. However, only 3 points away from each other. Sheffield Wednesday win 5, drawn 3, lost 7. Cardiff win 4, drawn 3, lost 8. So just one game difference. If we look at the stats, which is basically how they did over the last 6 games, for Sheffield Wednesday, it's draw, win, draw, lose, win, lose. They're pretty. I think they're pretty consistent. They're one of the teams that are very, very consistent in this division. And they're playing a Cardiff side who, to be quite honest, have, I think, really started to play quite decent football. Excuse me, the cough. It's from having meningitis when I was 40. They seem to be playing quite decent football, Cardiff. And as much as I look at it, the 2 defeats were the last 2 times out of the last 6 anyway. Luton 1-0 defeat away, Blackburn 3-1 defeat at home, which I don't think they even turned up in that game. So they can just not turn up, but they're not. Of late, that was just a surprise. The Luton Town game where they lost at Luton. Luton played really well, and they have been playing really well. It's been a surprise where they've been in the league, So I think Cardiff can do something here, but Sheffield Wednesday are very, very good at home, and they tend. Like I said, we say that, and they lost 6-2 at home to Watford, but they tend to be good at home, and they tend to at least play good style football at home. I think that Wednesday will be too much at home for this Cardiff City team, although they are good, and I think they will score. I'm going to go very, very boring. Sheffield Wednesday 2, Cardiff 1, but don't be surprised if Cardiff nick that draw. That could be another one of those. That could be another one of those 2-2 games. We move on to Blackburn versus Portsmouth, and Blackburn last 6 games win, draw, lose, win against previously mentioned Cardiff, of course. Blackburn have had the run of the green for so long. They've not been playing brilliant football, but they've had the run of the green where it would hit the post for somebody in 23rd, 24th position. It goes in the back of the net. Where they would get a yellow card and a foul, the referee plays on. Where it wouldn't be a penalty, it is. Where it is, it wouldn't. They get the run of the green. All of a sudden, they've not been getting the run of the green. They've still been playing just the same football, I think. But win, draw, lose, win. Cardiff just didn't turn up. I don't know why. It was at Cardiff, so really strange. Portsmouth, well, what we say about Portsmouth, they're just down the road. Win, lose, draw, lose, win. It's strange because they had 2 opening games against top ex-Premier League sides, and they drew, and they played excellent. And then all of a sudden after that, they seemed to get knocked by the fact they didn't win any of their first 2 or 3 games, and they just went on a downhill slope. I have seen something in that side that has just started to click. That defence is absolutely atrocious, or has been. And all of a sudden, they seem, in the last couple of games, even the Plymouth defeat, there's been something that's just said, even in the Hull draw, there was something in the Portsmouth side that I just seem to think that they could start to just put a few wins together. Now, it's going to be an interesting one. I actually think it's going to be Blackburn 1, Portsmouth 1. I want to say it's going to be a Portsmouth win. If anybody, but then I think, well, Blackburn at home, and they are actually, they're in ninth position. They've been getting the run of the green. Will they keep getting the run of the green? Well, you wouldn't think so, but they are at home. This really could go either way. So I'm going to sit on the fence on that one and go 1-1. So we have our Blackburn, and where we go next, we go Luton Town versus Hull. And we have got an interesting game here, haven't we? So Luton Town are in 21st, Hull are in 19th. Now these two teams should be together, but not down there. Why the hell are they down there? Somebody tell me why they're down there. I ain't got a clue. But after this game, I just find it difficult to see 16 games in, which is just over a third, isn't it? You're now looking at one of those teams still in the bottom six. If it's a draw, hell, you could have both teams in the bottom six. It's like weird. Anybody can go down out of this league. Yeah, absolutely anybody. Cardiff in 22nd on 15 points. If you add 6 points to that, 21 points. Bristol City in 10th are only on 22. Blackburn in 9th are only on 22. That can be brought back with 3 points a game so easily. All of these sides at the bottom have an ability to go on a really good run. QPR at the bottom, they did it last year and got well up to halfway. Sheffield Wednesday did the same, and you think anybody in there could do it. They've all got good quality. We know Cardiff have, Portsmouth have a decent side. Luton certainly have a decent side. Preston do. Hull do. Plymouth, they brought some good players. So why, you can't say which three are going down. You really can't. As per my video about who's going down, it's really difficult. So Luton Town versus Hull City. 1s and 2s, but then Luton can just lose it in defence. 5 in against Borough. They let 3 in against Coventry. But then they only let two in against Sunderland. And you think, it's weird, isn't it? 1-1 against West Brom, and West Brom can't. They always score like 0 or 1, don't they? Don't score very often, but they do well because they got a good defence. So you think they can be up and down. I'm puzzled between these two, and I can't help but see the number of times these two teams score 1. And if you look at the 3 draws from Hull City, right in the middle. Burnley, Derby and Portsmouth, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1. You know what I'm going to go for? I'm going to Luton Town 1, Hull City 1. It's just begging for a 1-1 for me, I'm sorry. If you disagree with me, put a comment down in below. Please do. I'm always willing to listen to anybody, include people like William, who was a Preston fan. I did sort of miss them getting jumping up the league. I agree, but it was so flat. 1 or 2 wins, and teams are flying around, God knows anywhere on the bottom of the Championship. So I will listen to, and I will sort of make a comment, and I will admit when I'm wrong or when I'm not. So yeah, please do give me comments. I always love to listen to it. I'd rather have a comment than a dislike, put it that way. So we've got our Luton versus Hull game. We'll then go Sunderland away at Millwall. Now, obviously, Sunderland in first position, 9 wins, 4 draws, 2 defeats against Millwall in 8th. 6 wins, 5 draws, 4 defeats. Now, the interesting thing here is that Sunderland, out of their last 6 games, have played at home once. So they've only played at home once. They're away again at Millwall. So that's 7 games with 1 game at home. Just incredible. Hull City Championship win 1-0. Luton Town away again, win 2-1. Oxford at home, the home game, 2-0 win. QPR away, 0-0. Championship, Preston Championship away 0-0, and Coventry Championship at home. Oh, no, it's 2 at home. 2 at home. I'm totally wrong. I do apologise. The last one's Coventry at home, so it's 2 out of their last 6. So this will be 2 out of their last 7 have been at home. So hopefully people haven't disappeared and immediately dislike. He's got it wrong. Like, yeah, it is. I do this completely ad hoc as I go through it. Now, Sunderland have been draw heavy. Last 3 draws, 0-0, 0-0 and 2-2. We know they can score, though. We know that they can put more than just 2 goals past the opposition. We know they can. But they're playing a Millwall side, draw, win, draw. And they are really good at home. They really are. They're grinding. When they find it a hard side, they just seem to sit back and grind out that a nice win. So I'm definitely going to go for a Millwall win. It's a case of how many, and looking at the scores there, I just can't see them score. I think they're going to sit back. They know who Sunderland are. They're going to give them the respect. They may give them too much respect and lose 1-0. However, at home they're really good. There hasn't been more. They haven't scored more than 1 goal in the last 6 games. So I'm going to go with Millwall 1, Sunderland 0. And we move on to Oxford versus Borough. Now, Oxford started really, really well. And of late, they seem to have the wheels seem to have fallen off a little bit. Borough seem to be a little bit hot and cold. Games that we think they should win, they don't. Games we think they make struggling, they don't, and they win it. Oxford are in 16th, Borough in 7th. We would think that this was going to be a walkover for Borough. 5-1 win last time out away at home at Luton. 4-1 win away at QPR. And they just didn't turn up at Coventry. Home at Coventry, 3-0 defeat. And 3-3 against away to Norwich the week before. And they won Sheffield United 1-0. So it's really strange. Against Oxford, who they won Hull, yeah, they're down at the bottom at the minute. They lost against Watford, lose against Sunderland and Swansea, but they lost against Sunderland away 2-0. Now you go to the Stadium of Light, you know it's difficult to be playing there, don't you? So I'm gonna go with what people are really thinking, which is Oxford 0, Borough 3. And we move on to Preston versus Derby. Now, Preston were playing, as William said from Preston, they were playing some really good football and they were getting results. Of late, they just don't seem to be getting the results. they are actually still playing just as good as they improved, and they stayed improved, but their results seem to drop back. Preston are in 20th on 15 points. Derby are in 12th on 19. So they're only 4 points apart. We are a third of the way through the season. So anything can happen from here on. And we know Derby's manager Warne just tend to do better right at the beginning. And then he sort of, somehow he seems to just, he always plays the same style of football. And he gets found out. And then as they go through the season, they tend to drop off. Or he tends to drop off, what he did with Rotherham. I'll look to see whether he will do here. I see no reason why, but, management styles tend to stay the same with him, so we'll see. Preston North End going forward from 6 games ago. Draw, lose, draw, lose. The draws though: 2-2 against Norwich, 3-3 against Plymouth, and 0-0 against Sunderland. 0-0 against Sunderland, extremely good for this. This showed to me that they are actually coming back. And then all of a sudden they just didn't really turn up against Portsmouth at all, anywhere in the game. Well, I think they had 10 minutes where they were quite good. They were still playing good football, but they just didn't seem to ever get a really good chance. And 3-1 defeat away to Portsmouth, a shock really. I certainly didn't see it. So I'm looking at this, and I can't do another. I want to do another draw. I want to do another 1-1. I was gonna write a 1-1, but I'm not gonna write another 1-1. Typically because I've already written 3 1-1 draws, and I'm not going to do it again. So who's most likely to win this one? It's a stick it in the air and there's a flick up the coin and heads or tails, isn't it? I think it's going to be a 1-0. I think it's going to be 1-0. I'm not sure which way round it's going to be. This could go either way. If we look at the table, we would expect Derby to be the ones to be up there. But I'm going to go with Preston 1, Derby 0. I'm going to go with William. I think that he would be saying, yeah, my side's going to win. I think he'll scrape it, being at home especially. QPR versus Stoke, and we have QPR, who are obviously on the bottom in 24th position, versus Stoke, who can score goals, but they're in 13th. They're only 9 points ahead of QPR, to be quite honest. So they're not a massive distance away. QPR lose, draw, lose. They've not. The 3 draws were quite interesting because they were against Coventry, who were playing really well at the time. Burnley, who were obviously playing well, and Sunderland, who were playing cracking. They're first in league. And then to come and lose against Borough 4-1 and then Leeds 2-0, is it because they're playing good sides? But then they drew against Sunderland and Burnley. So sometimes, sorry about that, I've got an itchy nose. Sometimes QPR can turn up, play really good football against the best teams, and then they can lose against average teams. Portsmouth won. They lost to Portsmouth 2-1 at home. And you think, okay. Yeah, it's just strange. They're at home though, and they're playing a Stoke City side that really can be very, very consistent. Bristol City draw. Sheffield United defeat 2-0. There's nothing wrong with that. Southampton defeat away 3-2 in the Carabao Cup. Certainly nothing that's bad about that. Derby win 2-1 at home. Blackburn win away 2-0. That's good. They get the run of the green usually. Millwall draw at home. Now, Millwall don't usually do as well away from home, so that's actually a puzzler. Why did they only draw against a Millwall side that's not as good away from home? I think that Stoke will want to bounce back, and because they really should have been getting more points from. They should have got all 3 points from the Millwall game, surely, because we know Millwall just don't quite click as good away from them. Or is it a sign that they are now starting to get that back? We have to think of that as well. But I think Stoke City do have the better, the majority of the run of the green behind them, whereas QPR at the minute, their stats are just showing that they're not quite clicking. Stoke can have defensive frailties, and that's my puzzler here. So I'm actually going to give QPR 0, Stoke 2, but be very careful because we know that Stoke City, their defence can be quite frail. It could end 2-2. So we go into the last couple of games. Let's go into the last game, which is West Brom versus Norwich. And look at this for a game for West Brom. Draw, win 2-1 away at Hull. And then we go to Norwich. Draw, lose. Where are they in the table? Because that'd be very... Oh, my nose is itching like mad as well. 5th place for West Brom on 25 points. And you think... 7 draws. Ouch. They're draw heavy. They seem to not get quite as many shots. But when they do shoot, they do quite well. A good percentage of them get in the back of the net. But they just don't seem to be very clinical enough for me up in front of the goal. Get a shot, get it on target, get it in the net. Norwich City did poor, did really well, and now they seem to have just sort of lost the plot a little bit. I know they've got a few. I don't know they've got a lot of injuries. Actually, they've got a lot of injuries in key areas. I'll be quite honest. I don't know if they're back, but I think they're going to start getting them back soon, and then their results will, I think, start to come back. But at the minute, I believe that a lot of their key injuries are still key injuries. And for that reason, I'm going to West Brom 0, Norwich 0. That's John S's Sports Channel. Please do like and subscribe. I need lots of subscriptions, please. I need a hell of a lot to be able to carry on this. And I do need people to watch me on a Saturday. I do have a listen along. Occasionally I have a watch along, but I'm not a monetized channel. Find it very difficult to pay for video links. But we do occasionally do it if we've got the cash available. So we've got the watch alongs, we've got the listen alongs. John S. Sports Channel. Like and subscribe. Come watch me on Saturday, or listen to me at least, and I'll see you on Saturday.